What is MVP stage? This is the minimum viable product stage. At this stage, the idea conceptualized by the entrepreneur has been converted to some product which they can demonstrate. The product could be different from what they would have initially planned at the idea stage. At this stage, no validation has been done and the product is getting ready to hit the market, and it might be improved based on customer feedback from initial users. At this stage, the entrepreneur also starts to market their product to acquire initial customers, with the entrepreneur usually being very passionate about their MVP and wanting to tell about it to people in the hope of finding initial customers or investors. With something to demonstrate, the entrepreneurs also start to look for investment, and they also passionately attend many startup events to connect with more people to promote their product, to find people to join with them as co-founders, to get customers to test their product out, and investors to do some seed or angel investment in their startup. Problems faced in MVP stage. At the MVP stage, entrepreneurs can get stuck as some funding might be needed to launch the product, to get sellers on board, and to acquire some initial customers. At this stage, the entrepreneur might have a different view regarding their original idea, seeing how differently it is turning out to be. Startups could require a lot of groundwork to get the sellers on board and to acquire the initial customers, and this could turn the entrepreneurs off. This stage can also lead to the startup failing and the entrepreneur giving up due to the amount of groundwork required, or seeing the requirement of funds to get sellers on board and to acquire initial customers. Or the entrepreneur could give up seeing how the startup life is turning out differently to what he had previously thought it will be like. To get the MVP built, the entrepreneur might have made some investment and also invested a lot of time and effort into it, so if the entrepreneur gives up at this stage, there is risk involved. Overcoming challenges. At the MVP stage, people should see what they are doing differently from the other existing similar startups and focus more on their uniqueness, as that will attract people who want to invest in the startup. As the MVP in most cases is an app or a website to get customers, after getting initial sellers on board, the same work can be done through a helpline number, or use web-based forms at initial stage to acquire the initial customers while the MVP is being built. The entrepreneur can then plan accordingly, seeing how things are turning out to be. At this stage, the entrepreneur needs to start promoting their product digitally to acquire customers. If it is not possible to get customers before launching MVP, still the entrepreneur needs to start promoting and try to build some hype around their product so that people wait for the product when it is launched. Different startups could be different, and what could work for a startup or product might not work for another startup or product, and this needs to be tackled on a case-to-case basis. We will explain this in a later video when we talk about types of startups.